Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. The board met in executive session, and we did do the salute to the flag. So I am going to read the statement of public notice now. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education of Bernards Township. Notice of the time and place of this meeting was provided, and copies of that resolution were forwarded to the official newspapers as designated by the Board of Education and to the Township Clerk, and a copy of the notice was posted on the bulletin board of the Board of Education offices. For those members of the public who cannot attend our meeting in person, a live stream link to the meeting is posted on the district website. We very much welcome input from the public. There are 2 times during regular meetings that the public is invited to speak. One time is early in the meeting before the board votes, when you may speak about any item that is listed on tonight's agenda. Towards the end of the meeting, there is another public forum to address any matter of public concern related to the schools. When you approach the microphone, please state your name and address. Please also sign in with your name and address. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. No participant may speak more than once during a given public comment session. The first public comment session will be limited to 30 minutes, and the second will be unlimited. In order to run efficient meetings and to allow maximum opportunity for members of the public to speak, the board reserves the right to set a different time limit for individual comments and the overall time limit for the public comment portions of the agenda. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually. Please understand that public comment portions of our agenda are not structured as question and answer sessions, but are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. The board and administration will respond to public comments to the extent possible. Any board responses to public comments will generally be addressed during board forum or committee reports. However, all comments are considered and will be investigated and addressed as appropriate. Please be courteous and mindful of the rights of others when speaking. Comments may not be abusive, obscene, threatening, or irrelevant. Please understand that students and employees have specific legal and privacy protections. The board is not permitted to respond in public to comments about students and employees. Please also understand that the board will not be responsible for the content of comments made by members of the public. Members of the public are cautioned that they are speaking at their own risk, and any personally directed statements they make may subject them to legal liability to the affected individual. If it is necessary for the board to go into executive session at the end of the meeting, we will provide an estimated length of time for this session and whether any action is anticipated to be taken upon returning to public session. Jim, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Salmon?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Ms. Light? Ms. Corrado?
Here.
Ms. McCune? Mr. Molinari?
Here.
Mr. Amin?
Here.
Ms. Chipok?
Here.
And Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Great, thank you. First up, Joseph. What do you got?
All right, good evening, everyone. So this past month at Ridge has been, as is a very common theme here, busy and remarkable. So I'm excited to share some more highlights with you. We'll start with our sports teams this time. I have to begin by congratulating our Ridge High School girls tennis coach, Mr. Griffiths, who's also a math teacher here, here at Ridge, who has been inducted into the NJSCA Hall of Fame class of 2024 and honored as the 2023 to 2024 State Coach of the Year. He led the team this year to a 10-3 record, and the girls have been, they've had consistent success under his leadership. Continuing with the success of our girls' athletics, the girls' cross-country team won the state section championship at Holmdel Park 2 weeks ago, and across both the boys and the girls' side, the cross-country team sent 4 athletes to the highest level of the state meet of champions. Our field hockey team won the county championship for the 4th year in a row, although they did fall short of their state goals. Both boys and girls soccer also competed in the state tournaments, and football advanced to the Group 4 section semifinal, though we did fall short against Ramapo 28-27. It was a tough one. Our marching band also had a memorable season, hosting an all-day competition that brought together schools from all across the region. They wrapped up their year with an impressive 4th-place finish at the state section level. Halloween brought creativity and excitement to Ridge, with students and staff really embracing the festivities this year, and our administration brought their own spirit with everyone dressing up as inside-out characters, and they made a really cool memory jar activity in which 700 responses from students and faculty alike put little messages into the jars of different emotions that were connected to different administrators. That was a new thing they did this year. Spirit Week and our homecoming game also built on our great school pride, and we had a great showing at all the events, and lots of costumes were worn. Academically, Ridge Forensics continues to shine. Hosting a CFL tournament this past month, they welcomed competitors from all across the state, and 14 Ridge students earned qualifications to move on and compete at the national level. In civic engagement, Ridge held a school-wide mock election led entirely by student volunteers, and it was inspiring to see the high level of participation and thoughtful conversations it sparked among students. And for many, it was their first opportunity to engage with our democratic process. And our seniors were also able to get out and vote in the real election on November 5th. We also had the privilege of welcoming career representatives from a lot of fields, including apparel design, project management, financial services, planning, and psychiatric research over the month. These visits provided students with a lot of insight into potential career paths, sparking curiosity to think about their futures in new ways. And again, our counselors have been an incredible resource for the seniors navigating their college application process. They've hosted more workshops covering the Common App, SRAR, essay writing, and more, and their dedication to helping students reach their goals is truly appreciated, especially as they worked until really the last minute and the final bell to get our students November 1st early deadlines in, especially for me personally. That was a big help. Shout out to Ms. Cahill. Wellness Day offers students a much-needed opportunity to recharge with activities promoting mental and physical health. And finally, the Ridge Drama Club delivered an outstanding performance over the weekend and last week of Radium Girls. And it was a powerful reminder that Ridge really does excel in the classroom, athletics, and also the arts. We really do have all facets. And last but certainly not least, we now have a new breakfast hot bar set up in the lunch area of the cafeteria for before school. Mr. Gil Matamoros, our RMARC coordinator, has worked consistently to try and put out the best food options for our students. And as of today, we now have acai bowls, coffee, overnight oats, yogurt parfaits, and hot breakfast sandwiches, amongst many more. And I must say the acai bowls are what impressed me the most yesterday. In our next meeting, I do hope to have some more news on how our Restoring Focus initiative is going, including insights from a new guest speaker. So that's all I have for now, but as always, I look forward to continuing to update you as the weeks go on, and thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you, Joseph. Any questions, comments for Joseph? No? No? Congratulations on an excellent season. It was a great game. You guys had a great season. Congratulations to all those student athletes and extracurriculars for the fall play, marching band, and especially to seniors. You know, if it's your last hurrah, it's a very special time for everybody. So, and to be doing college applications at the same time, probably not an easy task. I don't think anybody relishes those times. But thank you very much, Joseph. We appreciate the update. Okay, we're up to board president's comments. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who ran for the school board election. Congratulations to Robin, who's not here tonight, Brett and Michael, who will be coming onto the school board in January. And for Mr. Liu and Ms. Gupta, thank you very much for running. It's everybody that runs or tries to come onto the board, it's a big decision to make for you and your family to volunteer your time. So appreciation to all those who do so. We're up to superintendent's report. There's 4 items. Can I have a motion for those, please? Dave and Jen. Nick, you want to give some insight on those?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So we have an item tonight that only comes up once every few years. The state of New Jersey does a accountability review with public school district once every 3 years. All the public school districts in New Jersey are reviewed by the staff at the county offices. So we have been working through that process. It is our turn this year, being our 3rd year. We're part of a cohort that is being evaluated right now. So as part of that process, we have to submit a self-scoring to the county superintendent. We have to upload that information into the state's database. So the first item there is for the board's approval to do so. The scoring that we do, the self-assessment that we do, is called the District Performance Review. That's divided up into several key areas of the district, like finance and instruction and programming. We have reviewed all of those scores with our Board of Education committees, and we had a meeting last week on Friday with the CUSAC committee. Thanks to Janice for serving as the board member on that committee, and we went through all of the DPR scores again. Our self-assessment was very positive, so we are hoping that the state agrees when they do their review of our self-assessment that we were compliant with all the different areas that they asked us to provide information for. The second item is the district goals. We've talked about a couple of times, and hopefully my edits are in alignment with the feedback that the board has provided. Item 3 is our school bus evacuation drills, just a regular item. Every time we run our drills, we have to provide that information for the board agenda and the HIB report for November 18th.
Any questions, comments about what Nick reported on? The district goals, I'm sure everybody took a look. They were updated based on the conversation we had last time, so points out all the edits that we made. Did you have a question, Keith? Yeah.
No, just if we're going to comment on the district goals. I think they're good. They're robust. I think they build upon what we did last year. And I know there was some concern about there being too many goals, and I agree that that can become a concern. I wouldn't want to see it get any bigger than this. I wouldn't want to see them get much smaller either. The superintendent is the only employee in the district who is responsible to the Board of Education. So I think by having robust goals, we have more points of data we can evaluate Mr. Markarian on, push the school district to be better, identify developmental opportunities. So I think robust goals are good. I don't think they should expand much further than this, but I wouldn't want to see them contract much further in future years either. But for what we have right now, I think they're very good. I think there's a lot of specific, measurable, time-bound items in here that will move the district forward. So I'm in support of them.
Great. Any other comments? Just I'll make a note on the last one. One of the goals was about strategic planning, which we're going to be undertaking, and Nick has sent out in the SOS request for comments or ratings on the thought exchange. It's a very open-ended question. What do you think we could be doing better? What do you think we should be focusing on for next year or going forward for the next few years? So if folks from the public can log on to Thought Exchange and post their votes or review others' votes or review other suggestions, that would be great. Jim, you want to call the roll, please?
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Light? Oops. Ms. Corrado? Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes.
Ms. Chipak?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Great, thank you. We're up to public comment on agenda items. As a reminder, this is about agenda items. Come on up, state your name and address, sign in with your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes to speak about agenda items. Okay, I'm going to close public comment on agenda items. We're up to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion for that, please? Dave and Jen. Jim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes for the public session, abstain on the executive session.
Ms. Chipak?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Great, thank you. We're up to the Finance Committee report. There are 19 items. Can I have a motion for those, please? Janice and Keith. There's a report. Jim, do you want to read this one out since you did the minutes here?
Okay. So the minutes from the 10th are available. The committee looked at the updated budget calendar for the 25-26 budget.
Want to get a little closer? Right there.
Sorry. The committee met on October 10th. They looked at the updated budget calendar with a focus on the 25-26 capital project list to try and get that nailed down so that we can get out to bid early and hopefully get the best pricing. We looked at the fiscal DPR, that portion of the CUSAC that pertains to fiscal. We reviewed our self-score in committee. We also looked at student transportation for school-related activities, bids for field trips and after-school sports, comparing 24-25 prices to when we went out to bid versus 23-24. Not surprisingly, prices have gone up. However, the district is doing well with the lease of the bus and the in-house driver that we were able to find and hire. So so the routes that we're able to do with that driver and lease bus are actually cheaper than what we were paying at the 23-24 bid. So that is good, and we will look into seeing if we can get another driver and another leased bus. We discussed ROD grant roof project that we will be looking to do in the summer of '25 at Mount Prospect. The district has a ROD grant for that, and that was included in the list of capital projects for the upcoming budget. We looked at debt service refinancing options for the future. Nothing happening at this time, but just to know what options are available. We discussed a couple of direct install projects. There's 2 projects that we will qualify for. The program is currently suspended. At that point in time, we were waiting till October 15th to announce whether or not the program was going to be reinstated. Surprise ending, it is reinstated, but January 1st. And we discussed that Mount Prospect didn't qualify for the direct install program at that time. However, since the development of fixing the building automation system at Mount Prospect, we're hopeful that we might be able to get that building to qualify for direct install at a subsequent year. We discussed some voluntary prescription program changes that our insurance broker had made available to us in our self-insurance fund. And number 9 was the recap of 4 capital projects for inclusion in the 25-26 budget: the varsity field, turf, and drainage project, which is pending DEP LOI receipt for that project, the aforementioned ROD grant for the Mount Prospect roof, Mount Prospect playground wall replacement, which is in need of repair, and a district-wide flooring project, which will focus on flooring in multiple buildings throughout the district.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions for or about finance? No. Most of the agenda items are standing. Just, I would point out item number 7, which, Jim, if you want to give like a quick, that's about the agreement between the town and the school district about providing job opportunities for special education students.
Yeah, that's an insurance agreement that we've done in the past, and we have programs where some of our special needs students will work in various capacities, and so we annually adopt this insurance policy.
And those opportunities are provided by, like, for township positions or things like that. That's why we have the agreement with the town.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a great collaboration that we have for those students. So I just wanted to point that one out as item 7. Okay, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes.
Ms. Chipok?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're up to the Personnel Committee report. There are 23 items, including those listed on the addendum. Can I have a motion for those, please? Dave and Jen. Sean, do you want to see if there's anything to report out based on the report from the October meeting?
Yeah, we met October 18th, and given the nature of most of the items we discussed, I can't report out publicly. We talked about a couple of leave replacement positions and how we were covering those positions. We talked about our QSAC review and personnel that Mr. Markarian had just mentioned, the DPR. We talked about a professional development opportunity for an administrator that the board had already approved at the last meeting. And the administrator from the middle school did give an update on the WAMS-AO program and the management of that program, and there were some follow-up questions that the board was going to address. And unfortunately, everything else I can't discuss. That's it. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. Any questions for or about personnel? No? Okay, Jim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes.
Ms. Chipok?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Thank you. We are up to the Policy Committee report. There are 2 items there. Can I have a motion for that, please? Janice and Keith. And Dave, you have some reports?
Yeah, it has the October 11th policy meeting here, but there was also one on the 6th, November 6th. I was going to report out on both of those, if that's okay. And both of them had a lot of the same agenda items, so I'm only going to repeat them once. So the 11th meeting, the one item that was different is the second reading for policy related to student voluntary random drug testing. And the only change in there related to the consent form is now electronic as opposed to a paper form. And then in the meeting on November 6th, the first item that was discussed was the CUSAC. And Nick noted that the district feels that they have addressed all indicators under operations and self-assessed at 100 out of 100. The second item relates to student transportation. This policy does not currently have any specific language relative to dropping students off in the afternoon. Currently, we do not allow a student to be dropped off if there is not a parent at the stop to take them home if they are below 3rd grade. This language exists only in our transportation handbook, but not in policy. This is largely an elementary student issue, since you must be at least 3rd grade to be dropped off without a parent present. If this is not possible, the driver is supposed to bring the student back to school. However, when there is a sibling who is at least 3rd grade, we have been flexible with this rule. Nick would like to add language in either policy or perhaps the transportation handbook that would document allowing a parent to have their older sibling walk their younger child home from the bus. The next 3 policies, they relate to use of computer networks, student discipline, and AI. And we've discussed these at a couple other meetings already. The committee talked about all these, and that new language is not ready to be proposed yet. Committee input on these technology issues is still being collected. Additionally, staff are attending conferences on AI and collecting information on how schools are dealing with it. And then the last one, we did a first reading on the school calendar, and we were voting on it here. That's it.
If I could just jump in, Dave, I did check on the last board meeting, and we did do the second reading for that policy you had asked about.
Okay,
The other thing I wanted to make sure everyone noticed, the second item under policy committee, besides the calendar, there was a nuance in the policy itself that called specifically for 3 days to be designated on the school calendar as holidays that would get used as school days in the event that we had to close school for like snow. The language change in item 2 there is to change that from specifically 3 days to 1 to 3 days would be designated as holidays that would be switched to school days if we had a closure and lost a day of school. Just quick footnote, I wanted to make sure everyone knew why that other policy was on there. And that allows us to be more consistent with the calendar we're actually proposing that I believe only has 2 days, not 3, for holidays to be used as snow days.
So then if we designate 2 and we have like 3 snow days or something, then we're tacking on to the end?
End of the year.
End of the year, okay. Just
Yeah,
so
or-
everybody knows, yeah.
Yeah, or if those days happen after the holidays have passed. Yeah.
All right, any questions for about policy? Nope. June 2028 calendar. My kids are going to be graduating. That's freaky. Oh, my God. All right. Jim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes.
Ms. Chipak?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Thanks, Jim. Curriculum Committee report. There is one item. Can I have a motion for that, please? Janice and Jen. No report, right? Okay. Any questions about the voting item for curriculum?
Just one comment. I had an opportunity to read the human rights textbook. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a good choice. It's an honors textbook. It took some really thorny topics and presented multiple sides in an unbiased fashion. It'd be great for promoting discussion amongst the kids. Fully in support of it. I thought it was a good pick.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Nope. Okay, Jim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Molinari?
Yes.
Mr. Amin?
Yes.
Ms. Shippach?
Yes.
And Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Great, thank you. We're up to the Wellness Committee report. Janice has a report from October 30th. Thanks, Janice.
I do. The first item was the Joy Roots WAMS professional development. Committee administrators shared feedback from 20 William Annan teachers and counselors who participated in the two-day Joy Roots training. Staff felt that the Joy Roots team understands the specific issues that are facing middle school students and teachers. They felt that the training was especially beneficial to help them better understand and meet their students' needs, including for authors and receivers of harm. The committee also discussed teacher response to the Joy Roots October 2nd professional development session, and that was for the entire 140-member WAMS staff. 100 teachers responded to a post-session survey. 99% said that the session was in alignment with William Annan's building goals. 90% recommended continuing to work with Joy Roots. Both represent an exceptionally positive response. And many commenters shared that staff want to learn more. For example, teachers who had not participated in the two-day training would like to see an actual restorative circle so that they could understand how they might be used in their classrooms. Ms. Fox and Ms. Udok are working with Greg Lucas to develop the next Joy Root session for WAM staff, which is scheduled for January 29th. Ms. Udok shared that conversations about the topics that were covered in the October 2nd session are still continuing among groups within the school, including the Viking Voices Character Education Committee and the Viking Way Disciplinary Committee. A recent disciplinary incident was resolved with a student and their family using the restorative practices learned through Joy Roots. Both the student and the family responded positively to the process and felt it was an important learning opportunity. Both Ms. Fox and Ms. Udok emphasized that the primary goal at this point has been on building a supportive community and strengthening staff-student relationships. That's been the primary work of Joy Roots to date. In response to requests from board members, administrators are gathering data from a number of sources, including HIB and disciplinary reports, panorama survey responses, and feedback from teachers and students on the variety of programs that WAMS has underway to address school culture and climate. Ms. Fox, Ms. Udok, and Ms. Smith are in the process of outlining possible next steps should the district decide to continue working with Joy Roots or with another provider. Administrators are gathering information regarding staff interests and costs for each option, and they will present their recommendations to the committee at the December 19th meeting. Panorama surveys, Ms. Fox shared information regarding the numbers of students participating in the fall 2024 Panorama surveys as compared with spring 2023. The overall response rate for all 6 schools in spring 2023 was 82%. Panorama survey permission forms were included in Genesis for school opening in 2024. Responses from the 4 elementary schools ranged from 93% to 99%, from WAMS 91%, and from Ridge 71%. Responses to the Equity and Inclusion Survey were 95% for WAMS and 76% for Ridge. Surveys were taken during the month of October, and results are being compiled. These will be shared again at the December 19th Wellness Committee meeting. And for professional development, on November 13th, there was a building-based sessions for grades K to 5. Grades 6 to 12 had information literacy sessions or building-based sessions. On January 29th, K to 5 will have building-based sessions on the Let It Grow program from Restoring Focus. Grades 6 to 8 will have their second Joy Roots session, and grades 9 to 12 will have department-based sessions. With regard to restoring focus, Sean Beavers, the Director of IT, introduced the first session in a series called Technically Speaking on October 28th. Mr. Beavers' presentation, Parental Controls for Personal Devices, offered parents tools and resources to provide guardrails for their children's devices. Mr. Beavers also shared his own family's experiences with further restricting content using apps and features provided by cell carrier, ISP, and wireless network providers. 30 people attended this event at the Ridge Pack. Dr. Lazovic held a book talk on Stolen Focus by Johan Hari on October 29th at the Ridge Media Center. Attendees engaged in both full group and small group discussions and requested a second session to delve more deeply into Hari's themes. The second Technically Speaking session was scheduled for November 4th in the WAMS Media Center. Ms. Fox spoke about Genesis and the Family Portal and explored all of the information available to parents through the Genesis portal. On November 12th, second Restoring Focus Roundtable will be held for students in grades 6 to 12 and their parents in the WAMS Media Center. A book talk on the Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt will be held tomorrow, November 19th, at the Ridge Media Center. A virtual presentation for parents on the WAMS program, Half the Story, about social media influences, will be held on December 2nd. And pediatric neurologist Dr. Swamini Sinha will speak on the topic of restoring focus at the elementary level on February 3rd at the Ridge Pack. This is a returning presentation from parent requests following her talk earlier in the school year, and we are grateful to Dr. Sinha for providing an evening presentation for those parents who were unable to attend the morning session. On March 6th, the film Screenagers Elementary Edition will be shown at the Ridge Pack at 6 p.m. A third Technically Speaking session is being planned on the topic of artificial intelligence. Additional information regarding date and location will be shared as it becomes available. All Restoring Focus events begin at 7 p.m. Those interested may register through the Restoring Focus website at bernardsboe.com. And the final item that we discussed, board members had met with the Ridge student government representatives prior to the October 14th Board of Education meeting. We heard directly from students on a variety of topics, including the later school start time, its effect on their sleep and their schedules, the triple-tier transportation, and other items that students wanted to discuss. One board member suggested returning to what we did previously before the pandemic and meeting with student reps at all schools. The committee agreed that hearing directly from students at all grade levels provides essential input into board decisions. And the Wellness Committee plans to start those meetings with student representatives at all schools after the new year, beginning with WAMS. The next Wellness Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 21st.
Thanks, Janice. Any questions about wellness, Janice's report? No, I'll just give a shout out and recommendation for the February 3rd topic with Dr. Sinha. I went to the one that was at Oak Street, and she gave kind of like a short form presentation, and it was really interesting to learn about her clinical experience dealing with really young children and anxiety and stress and things like that, and how that influences her diagnosis when she delves into use of screens and things like that. So I highly recommend going to that on February 3rd, which is here. All right, we have Facilities and Operations report from October 10th. Keith?
Yes, so this is a little dated, so if there's any significant updates, maybe Jim can just hop in after. But all right, so work order status. So I'm not going to go over the total because, again, that's probably dated at this point. It's linked in the minutes if you'd like to see it. Mr. Mickley does anticipate all heating work orders being ready in time for the cold season, and they will continue to work on AC orders to continue to get ahead of next year's cooling season. The committee agrees on the importance of having the work order system running accurately and adhering to the maintenance plan, and to that end, HVAC orders are now going to be categorized into the following buckets. Emergency work orders, 5 days or less. Standard work orders, 30 days or less. Long-term, 90 days or more. Example of that is the steam trap project at Oak Street School. I will not go into the current HAB, the work order status, because again, at this point, it might be a little dated. If anybody's interested, it is linked in the minutes. Maintenance, let's see, same thing. They're probably a little bit dated at this point. We do have the average resolution time for the maintenance orders to 26.41 days, which is pretty good, and it's continuing to improve. And the community feels so as well. So we did receive feedback from the community that there is an improvement in district maintenance, and it's a much better spot the district's in than it was a year ago. Good job, and it was great feedback from the principals as well on Mr. Mickley and his efforts. Tracking the numbers that we've been tracking, it's going to help the district also when it comes time to negotiate new contracts come December. The district's new asset management system also appears to be working out well. Transportation update. Athletic routes are higher in cost, as was referenced in finance, but the district's lease bus is helping. Better than standard route prices, even considering fuel and driver costs. We did have one subscription refund request, and that deadline is now passed. It was October 11th. And Mr. Rollo looked into Sustainable New Jersey. It was a program that a student was inquiring about, and more information is being gathered on that. It was about sustainable energy usage in the school district, if I remember correctly. Construction project updates. So Ridge High School HVAC, the units are now on site, and they were anticipated completion at the end of the month. I'm thinking at the end of last month, so.
I think we're in punch list phase now, so they're all in.
Excellent. The Ridge ADA walkway, the asphalt was scheduled, the asphalt's in, yep. And there's good feedback on that so far. A discussion was had on how to make Leaf Field still more accessible, and options, including new handicap spaces behind the new gym, are being explored. The Ridge Varsity Field Complex, we're still waiting on the Department of Environmental Protection, and Mr. Rollo has been diligent in following up on that, as you can see. Yeah, nothing on there. It's the state government. They're not accountable. Multiple cafe serving lines equipment upgrades. They were ordered. We're still waiting delivery schedule. Direct install options, and these were referenced in finance, but a bit of background on that. Options are linked in the minutes. Cedar Hill, Oak Street have projects that will qualify. For Mount Prospect, we could use a ROD grant to help pay for the RTU portion, which is 40%. But because of overall energy usage, Mount Prospect doesn't qualify right now for direct install. Now, with the new building automated system, an option would be to defer for a year, gauge if the automated system lowers its overall usage, and then see if we can qualify for a direct install next year, and also save the ROD grant. The committee recommends to proceed with the direct installs on Oak Street and Cedar Hill and wait on Mount Prospect and see how the usage goes. There was a water main leak at Cedar Hill that was under investigation.
Fixed.
Fixed, very nice. Mount Prospect roof, a $2.1 million ROD grant. This is a need, not a want, and this will be in the 25-26 year budget. We're going to bid it on the winter and work next summer. The Cedar Hill canopy quotes, it's a PTO donation. The committee's concerned about aesthetics and functionality, and we're soliciting other ideas at this point. Let's see. Liberty Corner Art Room Cabinetry, we're getting quotes and prices on that. The committee's supportive of replacing them. And the next meeting is going to be this Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Thanks, Keith. Any questions for or about facilities and or operations? No, I think I'd just say that I hope that the maintenance improvement is also a reflection of Jim and Bill Mickley moving more of the in-house positions. Moving more of the maintenance positions in-house. So we have 2 HVAC engineers and a plumber on staff now, and we're looking to further increase our in-house maintenance staff. So that's really great that that's working out well. We are up to liaison committee reports. Any liaison committee reports? Jen?
Yeah, this is the update from the October 16th CPAC meeting. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. They started by thanking the district for developing the new disability curriculum that we shared out a couple of months back about the elementary school and the lessons that have been built. Then they talked about the sensitivity training and asked questions in terms of whether we could have some training for 4th and 5th graders in addition to the 3rd graders. The district is now creating afternoon lessons to be presented at WAMS in small groups for 6th graders, and they're very happy about that. We talked about post-secondary issues such as the new NJ GPA exam, which is state mandated required for graduation, and the exit exam is given in the spring of junior year. The goal of the conversation was to confirm that everyone was on the same page about requirements for students with disabilities and that every student had an appropriate plan before junior year. Then we talked about what they were doing for communications, and they circulated a parent survey to find out what parents in the community wanted to learn more about, and they asked Mr. Markarian, in fact, if he could use Thought Exchange for that as well. Then Ms. O'Connell shared that the Special Services Friday folder is going to be announcing a series of self-contained program spotlights, and they're all open to the public. And the CPAC is specifically hosting a series for a transition series for education to parents on what they need to know as their children move from different transition years. So from elementary intervention, from early intervention to preschool disabled to kindergarten, elementary school to middle school to high school, and then high school into adulthood. And then we don't meet again until January.
Thanks, Jen. Any questions about the CPAC report or any other liaison committee reports? Yeah, Janice first, yeah.
I'm just excited about that transition series. I know that that's something that, you know, developmentally we take for granted when our children are in general education, that things are a little bumpy in the beginning for a couple of weeks, but with some of the children with special needs, they really do need some additional support both at home and at school. So I think that will be a really great series, and I would encourage parents, you know, to participate in those seminars. I think they'll be very worth your while.
Thanks, Janice. Keith?
Yeah, it's along the same lines, actually. So the last Township Committee meeting on November 12th, they recognized local businesses that were working with ridge-based learning to help some of our special needs students gather skills and job experience in the community. And you know, I'm just going to read them out because I think it's worth doing again, just to highlight local businesses that are helping our students. And if I miss one, please forgive me. They came fast and furious, and there's a lot of them. But Hills of Arat, Washington House, Pizza to Napoli, Riverwalk Pharmacy, Barrister's Coffee House, Priscilla's Pantry, Ridge Sweet Shop, the YMCA, the Department of Public Works, the Berners Township Town Hall, Riverwalk Pharmacy, and I think that's it. Again, forgive me if I missed one, but it's definitely a reflection of you know, how generous not only local community members are, but the local businesses too in supporting our students.
Thanks, Keith. Any other liaison committee reports, questions? No? Okay. We're going to open up public comment on any topic that's relevant to schools. So if you have a public comment, please come on up to the mic, say your name and address, sign in with your name and address, and then I'll get you 3 minutes. Okay, we're going to close public comment. We are now up to board forum. Is there any topics for board forum that anybody wants to throw out there? You got something, Keith?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to Cedar Hill School here because I saw in Mr. Markarian's SOS Express the collage they did for recognizing local veterans on Veterans Day, family members who served. And I thought that was just excellent. So it's good to see the school doing that. I think that's the sort of thing we should definitely be highlighting. And you know, happy Veterans Day and happy Thanksgiving next week.
Thanks, Keith. Anything else for board forum for tonight? No? Okay. So we're going to make a motion for adjournment. I just say, you know, our next meeting in December, we have about a month. So like he said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Please come for our last meeting. The choir, a cappella choir is coming. We Three Kings, are we getting that? That was my request? No? I probably don't want to repeat from last year, but that's one of my personal faves. But we'll see. So, all right. Motion for adjournment. Jen and Dave. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much.